Blessings, everyone. How's it going? I hope that you are all having a wonderful transition out of March and are really enjoying this equinox shift we are all going through. I actually kind of felt a bit of a push from my higher self, well, all of my divine aspects actually, to present another horoscope, or not really a horoscope, but another video, another type of guidance, a report for you, and leaning in the direction of assisting folks when it comes to their spiritual practice. Now, those of you who know me know that the way I work, my whole oeuvre is being sort of the practitioner's reader, the reader's reader, right? Of course, I read for everybody who wants a reading, but if you've noticed my style, it kind of goes in that way. I felt like maybe a monthly video talking about the elemental weather and what is in focus and what is getting the oomph, in addition to the weekly horoscopes and the evolving field incoming wave discussions. That would actually be pretty cool. And so in this video, we're actually going to be looking at the elemental weather of the month of April and what is the big focus that you might want to actually bear in mind. Of course, you're not limited to this, but what is getting a lot of the support at this time when it comes to your energy work, your workings, how you go about creating, how you go about manifesting, how you go about your ceremony, what is going to be getting the extra special oomph on the spiritual and even on the mundane, and something that you can come back to for weekly guidance. And I'm also including a special exercise that I do that I've found to actually be really helpful, especially when it comes to bringing in a reality check, perfect, correct kind of experience when I need it. And so stay tuned for that. That'll be after the read. Just a quick reminder for all of you out there, Friday nights, overnight to Saturday morning, I do produce an additional weekly astrology bonus report. And if you are interested in that and supporting me on Patreon, you can follow the link below this video to my Patreon. I've got all kinds of discounts and perks for people who, choose to become monthly patrons with me. Even just pledging $1 a month gets you access to my list of astrology crash course episodes. If you pledge $5 a month, you have access to the weekly bonus astrology and my Tuesday lives. And if you pledge $5 or more, that's when you also start to get discounts. So $5 a month or more, you get 10% off my services. $10 or more, you get 20% off. And then $20 or more, you get 50% off my services, in addition to everything else. And so if you're interested in taking part in that, again, you can follow the links down below. And there's even an additional discount for those who want to make a bulk annual pledge or multi-month pledge. So anyway, what is going on here when it comes to this end of March transition into April? What is coming into focus? What is getting the boost? It's the Four of Swords upright. And so we're seeing this very heavy emphasis on reparation and correction of our reality experience across the board. When we talk about reparation and correction, we are talking about getting things into perfect alignment with what our life, our reason for incarnating, was always supposed to be. Now, it's not necessarily about a life purpose or the meaning of life, right? There really isn't like an overarching meaning to life. The point of it is to evolve. And the purpose, well, that of course is a moment-to-moment basis, right? Run, don't walk from anyone who thinks they're going to tell you what your life purpose is, and you can just go copy and paste that for the rest of your incarnation. Do not do that. But we are getting into alignment with what our higher self, our multidimensional self, source, right? The all has had as an intention for expressing through form, through you. Because the Four of Swords is a focus on healing, on reparation and correction, Not only the getting back into alignment, but also restoring things to their proper place, their proper balance, their proper harmony. Now, for a lot of people, it may still feel like a big mystery or still feel very foreign because, for a lot of folks, the distortion and the imprinting, well, that begins at a very young age, right? And it doesn't really have anything to do with what type of upbringing or childhood you had. That's, kind of the consequence of being in form and being in an environment, regardless of what it is. And so this is actually a time where a lot of what we've been talking about all through, March, the clearing of the conditioned adult ego persona is kicking up. The restorative process, becoming what we are supposed to be, having all of our creations and manifestations get their opportunity to heal, energize, rebalance, and actually become what they're supposed to be, while all that was never meant to be, or all that was never in the highest interest of all concerned, drops off and drops away. When it comes to material action, the kingdom of earth, right? What's going on in the material world? How do we go about making the best changes when it comes to fixes, improvements, and even evolutions of what is going on in our physical reality of circumstances that are already manifest? They've already precipitated. So this is stuff that, you've already been dealing with. Whether you're trying to fix it, get rid of it, build it up, tear it down, get it to evolve or grow or become more prosperous or successful, this is where you want to look. And with the Knight of Swords upright, it is a time to be paying attention to where we can actually do better by doing energy exchanges. Because the Knight of Swords, right, we have this champion kind of energy. Somebody champions your cause, you champion their cause. You do a ceremony or send some energy or do a ditty for, or working for this to happen over here, and they do something like that over here. Making these adjustments on the physical for each other. And sometimes, you can find that this is a fantastic magical strategy, trading things out. I'll help you change that situation with your work or your financial circumstances. And if you will actually send some energy over here to change the situation with, I don't know, my health, or this, this situation over here that I'm dealing with this paperwork, or this block, if you do a blockbuster for me, I'll do a money thing for you. This is a really good time to start playing around with that. Of course, you want to be careful, right? You want to make sure that you're getting those that are right for the job, that are going to serve in the highest interest of all concerned. But this is a good opportunity. So if you are a part of a spiritual group, whether it's, in the physical, or maybe you have some really good trustworthy friends online, or you have established, a few connections with some soul family members, Oversoul members, this is a good time to do some swaps, because sometimes it's the people that are not directly involved in our situation who will have the best results. Their energies may actually step over what you have been missing. They may clear something that you have not adapted to clear, and you for them. And thus we have a lot of breakthroughs, a lot of teamwork, and a lot of good coming out of these exchanges as well. Let's talk about social action. The kingdom of air might not necessarily be social in terms of things that we do with friends and family, but what we can do to actually pick up growth, pick up speed, pick up the pace, start actually having some things we want to snowball. And what we actually want to pay attention to is a gift that is being offered to us from the Air Kingdom. We've got the King of Wands upright. And this is a time to start actually working on revelation and visibility. And when I say revelation, this is self-revelation. This is actually allowing yourself, your work, your projects, your intentions to be seen, made known, and very similarly to that Knight of Swords, allow for assistance to actually carry your thoughts and your words farther. The King of Wands is always showing up as somebody who's got the hookup, right? They're always there for us. You know, he could hook it up with whether it's a relationship, whether it's, a travel connection, whether it's a work connection, it doesn't matter. The King of Wands shows up as the hookup. And this week with the air energy being with the King of Wands, maybe it's time to see what is it that you have not allowed to get the right attention? And where do we allow the right attention to work for us? What is ready to be debuted? You don't necessarily have to shout it from the rooftops, but maybe sharing it in conference with people that you trust and care about and allowing them to also be doing the work of that agent, that manager, right? That publicist for you, that assistance, letting things carry. Also calling in that assistance to beef things up. The King of Wands, the amplifier, right? Things that are maybe a bit small. They already exist, but they could be bigger. Things that maybe could become a lot better service to the world if they were maybe better funded or allowed to propagate more or more populated. The King of Wands is saying, see where things need to be boosted, what you can boost as well from what you've already got going on. Transmutation, the Kingdom of Fire. What needs to be enacted to transmute that which could actually serve us better in a different form? And also what is going to actually give more power, more energy, and more dynamism to everything that is going on in our life? Well, we've got the Queen of Swords upright. And so we have another air-fire combination. And with the Queen of Swords upright, we are seeing this big focus on objective liability control. Objective liability reduction, the cutting off and the clearing of things that maybe we've carried for far too long. Whether it's things we've carried on or things that obviously have hit the wall at some point and they're growing no further. Because the Queen of Swords does this work in the interest of progress, in the interest of success and evolution. And we actually have to pay attention to what is a tax on our available energy, our available time, our available resources. Now, this can be, with the Queen of Swords, a bit of a tough one, because this is also commanding that we actually do the process and progress checks, whether we're doing this on our own, or we are actually making these calls, say, at work, or we're making these calls with friends or with family, and paying attention to what is not keeping up with where you are going, which is actually costing you more to maintain the reality for, and it's not actually giving back as a balanced, equivalent exchange. In the case of situations where you might be finding that the challenge is actually deliberate, whether it's through actual antagonism or sabotage or just somebody being uncooperative or obstinate or incompatible, you're going to have to make some pretty serious decisions. You don't have to enact them in a crazy dramatic way. This is about getting things done the way, they need to get done in that highest interest of all concerned. Maybe paying attention to what is serving the highest interest of all concerned. Not just your interests, not just somebody else's interests. Also enforcing that with the Queen of Swords. And paying attention to where enforcement on a spiritual level, enforcement on a personal level is actually something that you can do when you're in your empowerment, when you're actually in a place where you understand that, look, I'm not being selfish. I'm talking about the highest interest of all concerned here. And allow yourself to let that sink in. The Kingdom of Water, the inner world, the inner work, connectivity. We've got the Moon card in reverse. And so this is another focus of revelation. Where do we need to not only reveal, but accept the true nature of things as they are, based on not only what we've seen, but what they are being. Looking at things for what they are. Whether this has to do with reevaluations of people, reevaluations of self, stories we've believed, identities or personas that we've held, maybe even paying attention to our own goals, our own aspirations. Am I chasing after something that means something to me? Or am I chasing after something that, well, I saw other people get happy with and I don't know myself, so there I go. The revelations of the moon card reversed, finding out again. What is it going to take to get reacquainted? And of course, not only reacquainted, but realigned with that higher self's priority, right? The true core spark of who you really are. Calling that forth, letting all of the illusions, the stories, the attachments to identity, history, tradition, all of the corporeal, this life conditioning, put that on the shelf. Just table that for now. And look and see, what is your world? And is that world a reflection of who you really are? Paying attention to the fact that our environment is our message to the universe about what is sacred there. Now, it might not necessarily be what you hold sacred, but when you look at an environment, any environment, social environment, material environment, a room, it tells you what kind of sacred space it is. What is this space sacred to? Is it sacred to abundance? Is it sacred to love? Is it sacred to health? Is it sacred to spiritual connection, divine unity? Or is it sacred to chaos? Is it sacred to filth? Is it sacred to anger? Is it sacred to trauma? What is it a shrine to? Because when that gets revealed, if you allow that revelation to happen, you're not going to be able to put the blinders back up, but you will know exactly where you belong. So, that being said, in light of everything that has actually been presented here, I definitely want to, give you guys an idea of a little exercise that I like to do. This is actually an adaptation of a practice that Sandra Walter, you know her, I mention her a lot because I love her. She's got this down to a science where she actually works with a big focus on divine transmutation. And this is a bit of an adaptation that I have been working with. I do recommend, for those of you who know who she is or those who don't know who she is, please check out her website, sandrawalter.com and ascensionpath.com. Support her. She is fantastic. All right, just spreading a bit of the love there. So let's get into the zone and do our exercise. Okay, so make sure you're able to give this your full attention. However, this is going to be felt through the video because we are going to be sending this through the video as well. Everything that we are experiencing and everything that is going on, including the video playing, and all of it, is going to be going through this light wash. So bring all of your attention into your heart center. Connecting with that infinitely, immortally clear and pure divine spark of Source. Expanding that light, letting it grow, shine, and exude through all of your being, all of your energy fields, all of the cells and particles of your physical form. Crystalline light surging through all you wear and bear, your clothing, your jewelry, all of your energy bodies. Expanding this pure crystalline light now to fill the entirety of your space. Welcoming in and forth all of our divine aspects to unify. Divine multidimensional expanse, unify now. Higher self, step forward. multidimensional self, step forward. All divine expressions of my I Am presence unify, connecting and unifying all divine expressions of yourself here. Connecting now with your Godhead, your Oversoul, the divine star spark from which all incarnate expressions of your Oversoul family come from, come through. I like to send a little invitation out to my Oversoul family, and you can do this as well. I welcome all divine multidimensional aspects of my Oversoul collective incarnate, all divine aspects of my Oversoul collective. You may unify as well, all willing divine aspects of my Oversoul collective may unify and partake in this exercise, in this energy, in this blessing. May it be sent to them as well. Moving beyond the Oversoul and Godhead, straight back to Source, straight to the heart of all creation in the multiverse. Calling forth the divine crystalline light of Source to flow through all of your beingness, opening up ourselves as pure conduits and instruments of Source, our multidimensional expanse. If you're using a tool or a candle, this is when you clear, okay? You can always clear with sage, but it's always a good idea to, maybe try to not use a tool sometimes, Don't need to run to sage and incense and sound and bowls all the time, Culture your energy bodies as well to do this work. Sending this crystalline light into the candle. All thoughts, energies, intentions, programs, vibrations, and energy forms ever imprinted upon this candle now be cleared and dissolved in this infinite clear light on all realities and dimensions, seen and unseen, deleted, cleared, dissolved in light. I call forth that this candle now be connected through the multidimensional expanse of my divine aspects to Source, and to become a pure beacon and conduit of that divine crystalline frequency, the divine crystalline love, the divine crystalline purity, and let it flow through all of my realities, all of my spaces, my work, my home, my living situation, my connections, all of my creations, works and workings and ceremonies, all of my energy bodies flow in divine crystalline light. I surrender it all to the crystalline divine light of Source, shining brighter and brighter and brighter. Release, neutralize, and dissolve any and all distortion, dis-ease, illness, lack, doubt, fear, chaos, entropy. Neutralize, clear, delete. Override it all with pure crystalline frequency of divine order, divine light, divine truth, divine abundance, divine health, and divine love. I surrender this as a pure crystalline light, conduit of Source. And so it is. Blessed be. Now, you don't have to do that again with the candle. I'm not going to light this right now. I'm going to let that, be. I'm going to light it before I go to bed tonight. But you can, and it might, even take some time with it, right? But it's something that you want to also be able to do as a bit of energy work, to express and send it yourself, to be that presence when you feel called to be that presence. You will notice energetic shifts. You will notice reality shifts. You will notice corrections and revelations as well of what something is, what something has been, why something is what it is, why a certain situation evolved a certain way, what an alternative is. It's a very interesting experience to have reality come into context. You can, of course, direct it at specific situations, but please understand that this is working as a pure conduit. We're not casting a spell to control something. And so when you go through this, working as a pure conduit, it is because you are working in the highest interest of all concerned to bring out the highest divine truth, intention, function, and purpose of a situation, and allowing the divine energy of Source to do what it does naturally. It's not about trying to control. So keep that in mind if you choose to direct that at a certain situation. However, I have seen wonderful results with this, especially in situations where I wasn't quite necessarily certain as to what I was doing with it or why it was being brought to me. I've also had a wonderful series of experiences this last month and a half when it comes to actually using this on situations that I didn't know I was still holding in my fields, especially when it comes to even old situations, old patterns, old connections, old relationships, old memory forms that might still be in, that are coming up to be cleared as we continue to raise in frequency. You get to see it, you get to understand it. I've even had entire stories of paths and ventures and even relationships that didn't really happen, but I was able to actually see what they were, I guess you could say, on an alternative timeline. Why that was the way it was, and also again what it was ultimately going to be. And so it was an interesting thing, but it also allows you to release. It's not about getting attached. It's not about, holding on to attachments or control, but it's about bringing everything in your energy field up to speed, correcting realities, especially when it comes to rebalancing and harmonizing. It's a beautiful, beautiful exercise. So I do want to make sure I get this video to you. I do want to thank you all for dropping by, and I hope you enjoy this. I'm looking forward to maybe doing more of these monthly, energetic elemental weather discussions with you. If you did enjoy it, please let me know what you think in the comments in the down bar below. Remember, if you want to get a session with me or you would like to sign up for my Patreon for additional content and perks, you can also follow the links below to those sites as well. Y'all take care, and thank you so much for dropping by.